Bonjour, bon après-midi, Paris, enchantée d'être ici. My name is Nicky Goulimis. I'm the co-founder and COO of Nova Credit, and we are building the world's cross-border credit bureau. So excited to tell you a little bit more about our business today and to see if there are ways that we can partner or support each other. So I'm going to start with a little bit of my own story. So as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm from the UK. And about 6 years ago, I moved to the United States. Now, in the UK, I had a credit card, I had a student loan that I had been repaying, I had a car lease, and I just got a mortgage. When I moved to the United States, I applied for a credit card and was rejected. I tried to get a mobile phone within a couple of weeks of arriving, and I was shifted over to a prepaid plan. And when I tried to rent an apartment, I was asked for a 6-month deposit. Because despite having a great credit history in my home country of the UK, I have no financial identity in the United States. What's even more crazy about this is that TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, which are the major bureaus in the UK, are also the major bureaus in the US. Now, this happens not because anyone in the system is malevolent, but what happens is when I apply for a financial product, I walk into the bank pings one of the domestic bureaus. The domestic bureaus in the United States have never heard of me, so they return nothing, and the lender ultimately has to make the choice to reject me. At Nova Credit, what we do is we effectively provide an aggregation layer into the world's credit bureaus, so we connect with credit bureaus all over. We are then able to deliver my full international UK credit file to the bank, and we can therefore turn that rejection into an acceptance. Now, why does this matter, might be the question you're all asking yourselves. The fact is that this isn't just a personal problem of Nicky needs access to credit. This is actually an industry problem where financial institutions are missing out on growth at a time where it is more essential than ever, and frankly, where the financial system is no longer operating for a world that is increasingly mobile. To put some statistics around that, there are 272 global immigrants, well, last year actually, I guess, so that number should be higher today. And in the US, where I live, about 50 million people out of a population of about 300 were not born in the United States. What's more is this is the future. So when you look forward, if you look at the United States, you'll see that the primary driver of population growth is going to be migration. And standing here on a stage in Paris as we celebrate the world's fintech and looking across the room, that couldn't be more true for Europe either. So how do we solve it? What you see on the left-hand side is the traditional credit bureau. Again, that sort of interaction I laid out earlier. A bank pings a domestic bureau, they don't have any international data, and therefore there's a rejection. At Nova Credit, we've integrated into dozens of credit bureaus all around the world. And when we access that data, we actually act as a credit reporting agency. So we take on all of the regulatory requirements for that data. We also post-process it and standardize it. So in our system, there is truly a single credit passport, a file that is consistent across all markets. If you start looking at the volume that we have partnerships today where we can provide over 1 billion credit bureaus, larger than each of the 3 credit bureaus in the world, and plans to continue expanding that, particularly as we add more and more alternative and transaction data, so that we can truly become your single passport to financial identity, no matter where you're from. In our system, a Mexican bureau looks like a bureau credit report, looks like an Indian credit report, looks like a Canadian credit report, and so on and so forth. It is an apples-to-apples comparison. What you see here is not mumbo-jumbo new alternative data that doesn't make sense to anyone. This is really credit data. It's trade lines, payments, and inquiries. On top of this, we've also built an aggregation layer, an analytics layer, so that we can also be providing you with scores and metrics to make that data interpretable and understandable. Now, I've talked a lot about what we as a company have been doing and building and the technology that we have, but I want to underline that this is ultimately for our partners. What we are doing is enabling financial services players, telcos, tenant screening platforms, to serve folks who they would otherwise reject. And so we actually recently went live with our, I was rather ambitiously going to play you a video, but I have a backup in case it didn't work. So we actually recently went live with our partner, American Express, in October of last year. Some statistics on the page from you. We were able to increase their approval rate by over 5x for this population and enable them to acquire thousands of consumers that they would otherwise reject. we're now scaling and serving more and more partners and starting to look to a European expansion as well. So when you look at our footprint today, we're effectively a hub for all newcomer needs. We connect folks to cell phone plans, to student loans. We actually do auto loan as well, credit card, mortgages, apartment rental. But we're looking to build more and more use cases so that businesses can acquire an important segment and so that consumers can be served, and we can build the technology of global financial services. We have an amazing team. We have backed by incredible investors, General Catalyst, Index Ventures in Europe, who many of you know. Our head of risk and analytics is an industry executive. She built VantageScore for 13 years, and our general counsel is also a brilliant leader. I'm proud of the diversity of our team, and I hope that you will all continue to support us. So if you're interested in partnering to grow into this segment, to serve immigrants, or frankly, to build the future of financial technology, please come talk to me. My email is nicky@novacredit.com, and this is really just our slogan. People move, credit history doesn't, and you bet we're changing that.
Thank you, Nicky.